Well, hello. Thank you so much for joining to this discussion. And good night from Indonesian. And my name is Qobla, and I am English literature student. As part of my final project of a course called British Society and Literature, I'd like to ask you a few questions about British society, culture, and current issues. Okay, let's start with something more general. I'm always curious about daily life in different countries. British society has such a unique identity, and I'd love to hear more about it from your perspective, or general perspective. Okay, maybe I forgot it. Can you can you introduce yourself first?
My name is Salah. I live in Wales, in the
Oh,
UK,
Wales.
which is one of the four countries that make up the United Kingdom. Uh, I work in a bank as
Bank?
a yes, I work in a bank as a risk manager, and I lived in Wales all my life.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. The first question is, how would you describe the typical lifestyle in your community or region in the UK?
Well, that's a very general question. Well,
Yeah, general
I don't know.
question.
Well, people. I think the lifestyle here is not too different to many lifestyles around the world. People generally, have a 9 to 5 kind of job. So they start work at 9 and they finish roughly about 5 o'clock. Mm. And then they spend the evenings with their families and they have some spare time in the weekends to to do chores or to spend time with families and engage in hobbies. And one shift that's happened and that's affected me especially to COVID was the where we work. So before
Mm-hmm.
COVID, I would work majority, if not all my time in the office. But now I work all my time at home or most of my time at home. So that's definitely a change in our lifestyle. I mean, it depends what kind of job you do, but for the job I do, that's one change in the lifestyle after COVID. Yeah, so that's if I've given you like a general, uh, just
Oh,
summary, general gist of lifestyle.
sounds like you have a lot of free time.
I think I know our working hours are typically 7 or 8 hours per day. So generally we have the evenings free and plus Saturday and Sunday free to to do community work or to spend time with family.
Uh,
Uh, so our working hours I think are probably shorter compared to say the Middle East or compared to Asia. I don't know.
so are there any particular social norms or behavior that British people expect from one another in public?
Social norms that the British people expect in public.
Yep.
Um, like I don't know, that's such a general thing to talk about. But like, when you go out, people expect you to queue. I think British people are like famous for queuing while they wait to be served. Say when they buying food or when they at the train station and they need to buy tickets, for example. Um, and in terms of other norms, I mean, I think it's just normal norms that you see in other countries. People
Yeah, normal
expect you
norms.
to be, yeah, like people to expect you to be polite, uh, say please and thank you. But then again, this I think the society, social norms have changed in the UK compared to in the past. As the I think the younger generation are less polite and their manners are less good, should I say, compared to the previous generation. And I think this is a problem in society in general, where people are not respecting social etiquettes and manners as much as before. But generally, I think generally people are nice and polite and treat you with respect.
Oh,
Um,
they have a respect each other.
so yes, from my perspective, am a I'm not white, so but I live in a
Uh,
society where people are respectful toward me. I haven't seen any racism myself, and people are tolerant and respect other people's cultures and values and religions. So I think that's a good thing from my perspective.
okay, okay, that was really insightful. Now, I'd like to move on to something that many people admire about the UK, its culture and art, from classical literature to modern festival. The UK has had a huge cultural influence around the world, right? So, how do people in the UK usually engage with the arts like music, theater, or literature?
Uh, in terms of literature, yes, there are many famous English like, literature writers and authors,
Yeah,
uh,
a lot.
especially from especially from the 19th century and earlier. Like for example, Charles Dickens and uh, Jane Austen. They've written many famous novels, which I enjoy reading myself. And Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
My children are yeah, my children are studying Macbeth at the moment. They they're homeschooled, so they study at home, so they're learning Macbeth. So those are very famous authors, and they've written very famous books. To be honest, these kind of books and literature novels are normally studied at school, and then personally enjoy reading them even in my free time. But I don't think most people would. So that's another difference in society today that's changed from the past. Where I think in the past, many sections of the society would enjoy reading classic literature like Dickens and Austen and Bronte, uh, Bobby Finn, which is an American novel, like classic literature like that. But yeah, but I personally enjoy reading them. But even though it's not too popular now, so that's my perspective.
So you love read a lot of books.
Yes, yeah, hobby reading is one of my favorite hobbies or pastime activities.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so I enjoy reading English literature and uh, philosophy and so on.
So, do you think traditional British culture is still relevant in everyday life today?
Fortunately, no. I'd love there are many good qualities in traditional British culture that I admire, I support. For example, like I said, having good manners and etiquettes, social decorum, reading classical literature, uh, respect for the house. So if you read Jane Austen, for example, Jane Austen's novels, and you'd see that the traditional way of getting married is you do it through your parents. So your parents would kind of arrange a marriage for you or introduce you to your future spouse. And you can read about that in classic English literature. And it was very common then, but today it's that's it's not too common for that to happen. Uh, um, but yeah, I think those are some of the British values that probably are lost. But if are you talking about, so you said traditional, didn't you? So I'm talking about traditional British values. Um, yeah, so that's one of the things I think I've noticed in our society.
That's good. That's good. Oh, all right. This day, it seems like social media plays a major role in shaping public opinion everywhere, including in the UK. And how do you think social media has influenced how British people talk about social or political issues? Mm.
Yeah, social media has had, I feel, a big impact to the British society and how they obtain their news and information and how it shapes their political views. Traditionally in the past, people would read, say, print newspapers or watch TV, but that's,
Uh,
if you look at the statistics, that's on the decline. It's becoming less and less common. And if you also look at surveys, British public are less trusting of traditional media outlets like like BBC News, the print newspapers. Many of the public don't trust them anymore, and they trust more social media to get their news. And for that reason, I don't know if you know British politics much, uh, but for that reason, we're seeing new political parties that are emerging in the UK. Uh, For example, Reform, and there's some new left-wing parties that are being formed right now. And that's because I think of social media and because especially the younger generation who feel that the traditional media are not reflecting their opinions and their political will. Yep. So I think that it's
they
had a
really
massive
have big,
impact.
they really have big impact, right? Mm.
Yes, yes.
And has there been a recent issues or even in the UK that received a lot of attention online?
I received a lot of attention online. Did you say?
Why kind of that?
Uh, recent news. Um, well, well, it's quite negative. Sometimes negative news spreads a lot, but in the UK, a lot many people are talking about like the migrant issue. Which they call it the migrant issue, which, which what that means is that many people are trying to enter the UK illegally.
Illegally?
Um, illegally,
Illegally.
illegally. Yes. Like for example, people smuggling or through boats and lorries, uh, and a lot of these migrants come to the UK, and the government provides them with hotel accommodation and things like that. And a lot of that is getting a lot of attention online in social media, on Twitter and etc. etc. and a lot of videos circulating about those kind of issues. Uh, yeah, so that's just one example how sometimes negative, I think, issues and problems get a lot of attention on social media and online.
That's cool. All right. Maybe uh, that's a good idea. But what do you feel safe in the UK or you have another problem or anything else?
Depends
I mean,
where you live, I think.
you like an immigrant, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm a son. You can say I'm a son of an immigrant.
Uh,
Uh, um, but I feel safe. I personally feel safe where I live. I live in Wales, in North Wales,
Wales, yeah.
and and the crime is relatively low in our area. So I haven't had any issues. People are quite friendly, like I said. But if you go to the big cities like Manchester, especially like London, crime is much higher there. And people who live there, they tell me that they don't feel safe living in London, or not as safe as, I don't know, relatively less safe, let's just say, compared to other cities. Which is why quite a lot of people are moving out to London and moving abroad, like Dubai, because they think it's safer to move there. Yeah, so for me personally, I feel safe where I live.
As a Muslim, right?
As a Muslim, as a non-white person, because obviously there are a lot of white Muslims here as well. Uh, so if you've got to think of, from my perspective, is being a Muslim and a non-white person. Despite those two factors, I still feel safe and happy where I'm living. So,
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and experiences with me. It's been really helpful and interesting to hear a British perspective thoroughly as a Muslim, right? I appreciate your time and insight. And once again, thank you very much, Salah.
my pleasure.
Thank you and goodbye.
Bye. Goodbye.